Well, after a mild week for many spots and some rain, it looks like we're going to be getting a cold snap that's going to last most of the week for most of the nation. I'm John Felt. This is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing. Well, as far as the status of fall leaf color change, areas in the darker shades of brown already past the peak. The areas in red and orange are near peak. So it looks like we are definitely progressing right into the peak colors over many parts of the nation. But the big story this week will be colder weather, and you can see all the first occurrences of freezing temperatures expected, the risk of cold weather, and look at these temperature departures. Purple is indicating below normal temperatures. Now, last week we had our first winter storm, significant winter storm of the season over the upper Midwest and northern Rockies. Parts of North Dakota had 14 or 15 inches of snow in spots. We're also looking at the tropics, and that's a sign of late fall. We're looking at talking about winter storms and cold at the same time we're talking about tropical weather. But the tropical weather should be pulling back a bit. Hopefully I'll get an update out on that this week. There is an area of disturbed weather in the north of Puerto Rico, and that could develop this week, high probability, but it does not look like it'll affect the U.S. at this time. I'll keep an eye on it. So last week, many areas in the orange and darker brown had a pleasant week as far as temperatures go, 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Matter of fact, anything in the light green here, 80 degrees or higher, the yellow 85 or higher, and this orange here, 90 degrees or higher. But that's going to change. We have a frontal boundary here. You can see it here with the higher dew points in the east. And we have a front that is going to be pushing through. It's going to be bringing some colder air, much colder air, to the eastern U.S. It's already in place in the central U.S. Here's our rain last week. We had a couple pockets of heavy rain, especially around the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we had rainfall in some spots over 8 inches of rain. So quite a bit of rain in that area. As far as rivers go, you can see the rivers here. Areas in red are below normal, especially the mid-Atlantic region. Take a look at that, really below normal stream flow. That rain, remember these little pockets of rain here? Each one of those puts a little bit of increase of flow into the river. So what we see is we see these bumps, and we're going to see more and more of these as we get into late fall and early winter. But unfortunately for the lower Mississippi, they attenuate, and by the time we get down there, we see some increase in flow, but really not much. So we still have low flows on the lower Mississippi. Okay, this week we are going to have this big dip in the jet stream, and that is going to mean colder weather. And by the end of the week, we have a jet stream pattern that bulges north in the west and dips south here. That means where it bulges north, warmer weather, and where it dips south, colder weather. And you can see that here. Look at this week, next 5 days, all the areas, what is that, 90% plus of the nation below normal temperatures. And then as we get into November, it gradually moderates. And matter of fact, the western U.S. has some mild weather coming up the first week of the month of November. Give you an example what to expect. This is Washington, D.C. Really mild weekend, 70 degrees today and tomorrow. High temperature only 50 by Wednesday. Bismarck, North Dakota, that received the snow, sure feels like winter there. The low temperature 3 degrees on Tuesday, high only 27. So that front is going to be pushing through the eastern U.S. and bringing that colder air in as well as some rain. Take a look at this behind it. We have a Alberta Clipper coming behind it, and that's going to bring some snow to the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. So the heaviest precipitation this week looks like it'll be the Pacific Northwest, especially higher elevations and west of the Cascades. And that's pretty much it as far as significant rain. That Alberta Clipper will bring some snow. We also have some snow in the Rockies around Denver. And then here's that Clipper system light snow in that area. Blue, generally an inch or so in that area. And finally, here's the extended outlook over the western U.S. Some really mild weather, continuing mild and wet in the Pacific Northwest. Let's keep an eye on this. You know, when we get into fall, the rainfall is more widespread, more synoptic, and that's what we need to replenish our soil moisture and get some more runoff into our rivers. That might see some modest improvement maybe the first or the second week in November. Anyway, have a great Halloween, and it looks like it's going to be cold in many areas. Take care.